everyone, and welcome back to Keeping Up with Contenders China for Week 5, the final week of the regular season. This week we found out who took the last playoff spot and where the final seedings lie in time for playoffs. The most important week of the competition, and it's all here, so let's go. Lucky Future versus Restart. This was the series that would determine the final open playoff spot, the 4th seed of Group B. Every other playoff team in the competition had the chance to change their seeding today, but whoever won this series did not. After a number of roster swaps across the season, both of these teams were now sitting as all-Korean rosters, bar one player, and all eyes were going to be on the main tanks, Wons and So What. What it came down to was which main tank had to make the fewest decisions, which ended up being So What. His shatters, while not always technically perfect, consistently put Wons in difficult positions, a big plus for Lucky Future. Hanamura ended in a brutal draw, one which should have been an easy win for Restart. Their flex support Aztec carried on Hanzo and Zen, but Lucky and Future were just better and took the playoff spot for themselves. Lingan Esports versus 666 Legend. This game was purely for seeding, but with LG being the team that took Team CC to a 5th map, what were the chances for TSL looking like? Both teams like playing GOATs, and TSL often heavily lean on their main tank DPS to do the work for them. The aim here for TSL would be to set dominance early, and for LGE, don't be too cocky. Someone who stood out was Arjian on Zarya. On Lijiang Night Market, he didn't even lose the armor he received from Brigitte. TSL's Symmetra pick on Control Center was odd, but they found comfort in their aggression. TSL's Reaper on Hanamura threw LG through a loop, but by the next round they learned to adapt, putting a stop in its success. And Kami proved that he had a great Brigitte too. LGD Gaming versus Big Time Regal Gaming. These two teams have had a rough time throughout the season, being arguably the two most affected teams by the Overwatch League pickups. Two players who would have to prove themselves today were Tonchio, who hadn't yet reached the echelons of tank play we'd hoped, and Effort, whose performance had dwindled over the last couple of weeks. Effort looked less comfortable on the Zarya he was playing, and it looked as if Shou Cheng was outplaying him time over time. It ended up being the second Hanamura draw of the day, but ultimately LGD took the series 3-0. The unsung hero was Rookie, whose impact and consistency carried the team to their success. Laboratory versus Zenith of Optimism. The first series where neither team had a playoff spot, it was going to be all about pride. Both these spots have been purchased this season, and these teams will want to prove that they deserve to be back in Season 1 2019. By halftime, Laboratory had taken the first 2 maps, and the question would be if they'd be able to continue on with that momentum to claim the last 2 as well. Skyshow was showing up for them, his DPS this week really standing out. But in a turn of events, Zhu took Lab to a 5th map, however they weren't able to retain the glory. The teams played GOATs too, something new for them both, and that's what led to a close finish. Flag Gaming versus Alter Ego. Flag were the top seed in Group B and beat Team CC in the Land Story Cup. They were going to be a strong and scary opponent to face for Alter Ego, who hadn't quite found their footing all season. They were out of playoff contention and would just have to hope to be the foil to stop Flag's further dominance. Not letting Jason have his way would be a start. Flag had a slow start as AE forced them off their preferred comps, but pulled it back to take the first 2 maps. Ultimately, AE pushed Flag, but couldn't secure themselves a map win. Fenley's headshots on Hanamura proved some of the power they had, but Flag ended the series keeping first seed, ready for playoffs. T1W versus Team CC. This was the most anticipated series of the entire regular season, the 2 heavyweights of China going head to head, finally cementing who was to be the alpha, who deserved top seed. What possibly carried more tension was the bet that analysts Vals and Volumel had going on in this game. If Team CC won, Vals would concede to refer to Volumel only as My Lord for a week. If T1W won, Volumel would do the same thing. T1W took a decisive lead, heading closer to the 20-0 map differential they so craved, but Team CC were doing well to punish T1W's aggression and eat gravitons. However, in the end, it was a big fat 4 Overwatch to T1W, the first team to have ever achieved 20-0 in Contenders China. And not only did T1W walk away with the glory, but Vals walked away with the crown. And that was Keeping Up with Contenders China for the final week of the regular season. Now we know every team who made it into playoffs, which you'll be able to watch on twitch.tv/broadcastgg from the 28th of December onwards. But for now, that's it for Contenders China. Thank you so much for watching.